human story will continue as the journey of the soul unfolds. Don't let the dark parts dim the light within you. All the precious gifts
It took me a long time to understand that sometimes what wounds us the most is not rejection. It is connection that could only go so far. It is caring that reached for you but never fully held you. It is love that was real enough to move your heart, but not free enough to meet you. And I have known a love like that, a few loves like that actually. A love that meant more to me than I ever really fully said. And what hurt was never that it was false. What hurt was feeling how much it could have been if only it knew how. It felt like I was holding something sacred, while the other person could only hold it as far as their own understanding would allow. I felt like I brought tenderness to it, a certain level of reverence to it, emotional depth to it. And sometimes it felt like what came back, though kind and genuine in its own way, could only reach me halfway. So I spent a lot of time wondering why. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's shame, maybe it's the weight of living in a world that quietly teaches some people to distrust their own hearts, to minimize their own desires, to treat certain kinds of love as less worthy, less holy, less real. And maybe some people have never known or have never been shown that love can be sacred at all. So for whatever reason, what I've learned is that even beautiful things can have limits. And sometimes those limits break your heart. Because that's the irony, you know? Something can be warm, kind, meaningful, and real, and still not be able to become what it promised. Something can carry affection, but not shelter. Desire, but not devotion. Closeness even, but not courage. Presence, but not performance. Sometimes you are loved, but not deeply enough to belong there. Loved enough to visit, not loved enough to stay. Loved enough to be welcomed through the front door, but not enough to be given a key. Loved enough to be there for the laughter, the softness, the beautiful moments in passing, but not enough for the unguarded hours, not enough for the trembling truths, not enough for the parts of you that need somewhere safe to fall apart. So you learn to arrive polished, composed, strong. You learn to bring only the piece of yourself that won't burden the room. You become a tourist in a place your heart wanted to call home. And that grief is difficult to explain because nothing terrible happened. There was care. There was sweetness. There were memories worth keeping. But beneath it all was the ache of being almost chosen, almost claimed, almost held in the full way your spirit recognized was possible. Like a bird with beauty in its wings, with all the wind around it, sky above it, and still no real ability to fly. That is the sorrow of certain loves. Not that they were false, but that they were never free enough to rise. And maybe that is what I'm grieving. Not the absence of love, but the absence of expansion. For me, love has always meant something sacred, something that should breathe, something that should rise into the full shape of what it's meant to be without apology. And because I've had to learn to love myself that way, I can no longer confuse limitation with love. There's nothing wrong with me for wanting depth. There's nothing excessive about me for wanting love to be whole. I think what hurts the most is realizing that sometimes what was beautiful was also bound. And sometimes the heart has to mourn not only what was lost, but what was never found.